Good, happy Friday morning, October 2nd, 2020. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. We have a lot of news to get to this Friday morning, so let's begin. First up, we begin with breaking news. President Trump says he and First Lady Melania Trump tested positive for COVID-19. President Donald Trump says he and First Lady Melania Trump have tested positive for the coronavirus. The president tweeted early Friday. New Hampshire COVID-19 pandemic information, graphs, and case data. Let's take a look at that right now. And here is a look at that information for all of you right now. There are 8,317 number of people in New Hampshire tested positive for COVID-19. 7,263,417 number of people in the United States have tested positive. 441 number of deaths from COVID-19 in New Hampshire. 738 number of people have been hospitalized with COVID-19 in New Hampshire. In 207, 465 number of deaths from COVID-19 in the United States. Now let's take a look at this map of New Hampshire where current cases of COVID-19 are. Manchester 54. Let's take a look at this map of New Hampshire where total cases of COVID-19 are. Manchester 2082. And now let's take a look at these three charts here. Let's start with the first chart here. New cases each day in New Hampshire. In the purple, daily new positive COVID-19 test cases. In the orange, new hospitalizations, and in the red are the deaths. Let's take a look at this chart here. Current cases. In the purple, total current COVID-19 cases, and in the orange, current hospitalizations. And let's take a look at this chart here. Total cases. In the purple, total positive COVID-19 cases. In the orange, total hospitalizations, red deaths, and blue recovered. And now let's take a look at this chart here. Age group of cases, female and male of cases, and risk information. Let's take a look at this chart here. Infections, hospitalizations, and deaths. And let's take a look at this chart here. Deaths, percent of New Hampshire population, race/ethnicity of cases, and hospitalizations. And a reminder, your common symptoms: fever, lack of smell, cough, difficult breathing, chills, nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea. How it spreads, and prevention tips. And be sure to stay with the Riley King Network for the latest of your COVID-19 information. 47 COVID-19 cases reported in residents, staff at Bedford long-term care facilities. 2 more Granite Staters died from COVID-19, health officials say. Let's take a listen to that video from WR News 9.
The fairs may be canceled, but Mainly Tub's huge annual fair sale is back and bigger than ever.
The public health update from Dr. Beth Daly. Dr. Daly.
Okay, sorry about that. We have the wrong video. We do not want that one. We do not want to see the whole video. Sorry about that. A new COVID-19 outbreak in a Bedford long-term care facility involves 33 residents and 14 staff members, health officials said on Thursday. Health Commissioner Lori Shipperton said the outbreak was detected in the Bedford Hills Center, a smaller outbreak involving 3 residents and 1 staff member was discovered at Ward Health Center in Windham. Shipperton said it's concerning how quickly the outbreaks grew at the Bedford Hills Center, going from 0 to 47 cases in a week in 10 days. That is a testament to how quickly COVID-19 moves, she said. Serial testing will begin at 2 facilities, Shipperton said. The state has implemented a program of surveillance testing in the state's long-term care facilities in an effort to detect cases before outbreaks develop. Shipperton said the Bedford Hills Center had been participating in the surveillance program and had tested its entire staff, with all tests coming back negative before the outbreak. What we've seen through this pandemic is that as community transmission increases, and community transmission has been increasing, that increases the risk for its ongoing into nursing homes, she said. For the first time since mid-September, New Hampshire has recorded multiple deaths from COVID-19. Health officials said 2 more granite skaters have died, and Beth Daly, chief of Bureau of Infectious Disease Control, said the 2 were associated with long-term care center. There have now been 441 deaths due to COVID-19 in New Hampshire. Daly said there were 52 new cases of COVID-19 reported Thursday. Average daily case total in New Hampshire have risen over the past few weeks, but Daly said it appears that they have plateaued at a higher level than before. There will be an unusual spike in cases Friday because of the way the state is calculating the number of positive cases. Previously, the state didn't include positive results from rapid antigen tests because those were considered presumed cases, not confirmed ones. As the state moves toward using those tests more often, the positive results will be considered confirmed cases. The change will add 126 cases from throughout the pandemic to the state's overall total. While the cases have risen, hospitalizations have not. There were no new hospitalizations announced Thursday. Officials said 738 granite skaters have been hospitalized over the course of the pandemic. Daly said the public health workers are continuing their contact tracing investigation after cases of COVID-19 are confirmed, but their jobs getting more difficult. She said people have become weary of the ongoing pandemic, but it's essential that granite skaters return the calls of contact tracers and try to cooperate with their guidance. Daly said robust contact tracing programs can help keep schools and businesses open and let people get back to their normal lives as quickly as possible. COVID fatigue frustrates some contact tracing efforts, health officials say. Officials say some resist guidance to quarantine after exposure. Let's take a listen to that video from WNUR News 9.
The fairs may be canceled, but Mainly Tubs' huge annual fair sale is back and bigger than ever, with hundreds of hot tubs in stock and on.
New Hampshire public health officials say COVID fatigue appears to be on the rise and it's impacting contact tracing efforts. At times, they are faced with negative reactions from exposed individuals being asked to quarantine. They say most comply right away, but the problem is growing.
Sometimes people, they have a tough time accepting that news initially. They might not be very nice to the person who's calling them. We try to have another person call them, and eventually we get people to comply with that.
They say it can be particularly bad for the immediate family members of those who contracted COVID-19.
Because their last date of exposure then was the last date that person was infectious, they have to extend their quarantine for 14 days. So they could be in quarantine for a long period of time and even longer than the person who had COVID-19.
Governor Sununu is watching activity in surrounding states, keeping an eye on the increased alert in Boston for community spread of coronavirus.
Mayor Walsh is putting Boston in a red zone, so we kind of look at, okay, what does that mean?
The governor is asking for patience, but acknowledges it can be difficult when there isn't a clear picture of what a vaccine rollout will look like.
The vaccine's going to be the first giant hurdle, and until we really get there, I don't know if there'll be a lot of confidence that that the end is really in sight.
Health officials say people should continue with safety measures like mask wearing and social distancing. They're also urged to comply with contact tracers to help stop community transmission. Live in Concord tonight, Siobhan Lopez, WMUR News.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Portsmouth Church notified of COVID violations and report of outbreak. Church notified sharing of single items is a violation of coronavirus emergency order. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Jennifer Brompton.
The fairs may be canceled, but Mainly Tubs' huge annual fair sale is back and bigger than ever, with hundreds of hot tubs in stock and on their way.
The Greek Orthodox practice of using a single shared chalice and spoon during communion was a possible source of a COVID-19 outbreak at St. Nicholas Church in Portsmouth in early September, according to health officials. A warning was issued to the church by the city of Portsmouth in July, the state attorney general's office issuing another this past weekend, saying places of worship need to modify practices per the governor's emergency order.
If common items are used, there's a risk of transmitting the virus if it touches somebody who has that virus.
The science, to me, is clear.
A doctor on the parish council for the Portsmouth Church, who is a member, as well as the church's safety committee, says they've been working with the state and been trying to stop the practice of sharing for months.
Many people are being starved of receiving communion because they're afraid to get the virus.
He says the parish priest who has since left and the metropolis of Boston that oversees Greek Orthodox churches in New England believe the chalice and spoon are sacred and can't spread the virus. The church's council frustrated that the priest in metropolis would not acknowledge the science or that the governor's order is law.
I wish it hadn't taken this cluster of 6 people for the state to finally send the letter out.
We've raised those issues to the metropolis so that it can be dealt with as a larger issue.
Now, the state does say it's sensitive to doctrinal issues and has been in contact with an attorney that's representing the metropolis, in essence, to discuss practices that impact all of its New Hampshire churches. For now, the metropolis has ordered that St. Nicholas stop any services. We're live in Portsmouth, Jennifer Crompton, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Merrimack High School suspends some sports games practices after 6 positive cases of COVID-19. 6 teams impacted. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Palmer Gas and Oil has been keeping homes in New Hampshire, northern Massachusetts, and southern Maine comfortable for over 85 years and 4 generations.
Merrimack High School is canceling all upcoming games, meets, and practices for half a dozen teams after 6 students test positive for COVID-19. Good evening, I'm Monica Hernandez.
And I'm Mike Cherry. Student athletes on those teams are in quarantine. And in a letter to parents, the Merrimack superintendent says the virus was not transmitted inside a school.
Governor Sununu says school transmission statewide has been quite low. At his briefing today, he said since schools reopened, only about 60 of the 192,000 students in K through 12 have tested positive.
DHHS reported a total of 52 new cases today. 342 cases remain active and 15 people are hospitalized tonight. DHHS also reporting that 2 new long-term care-related deaths. Since March, we've now lost 441 people to the virus.
And tonight, health officials are urging people to do their part in stopping the spread as contact tracers face a new challenge.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Very important to do your part when a contact tracer calls you and gives you guidance. Givington police searching for a missing man. Last seen Wednesday in Neza Fortune. Let's take a listen to that video from WR News 9.
The fairs may be canceled, but Mainly Tub's huge annual fair sale is back and bigger than ever.
Now, Gilmanton police are asking for help finding a missing man who suffers from memory loss. 80-year-old Francis Gianni was last seen yesterday and has no cell phone with him. He was driving a white Nissan Frontier with New Hampshire plates 2980800. If you've seen him, call Gilmanton police. That number is 603-527-5454.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Mobile Food Pantry distributed food to those in need across the state. Drive-through food pantries head out 3 times per week. Let's take a listen to that video from WR News 9.
Do you need a new roof but think you can't afford it? Our average customer pays $7,500 for a total roof replacement, and we have finance plans with payment options under $150 per month. Call today. Century Roofing, we've got you covered.
Fred Germain is from Lincoln and has been getting food from his local pantry for years.
When you're on low finances, it makes a big difference for the week, and sometimes it makes a difference for the entire month.
Germain just received a box full of food from the food bank's mobile pantry in Lincoln. It's something the food bank is now offering 3 times a week in different parts of the state. Since the pandemic started, the demand for food has grown 55%.
Getting reports across the state, especially in the North Country, where pantry usage is up, people are in need, people are out of work.
The expanded hours for their drive-through pantry are being made possible from a USDA grant, which will end in 5 weeks. Food bank staff are encouraging anyone who is in need to reach out.
We often hear, I'm not going to come out. There are always people who need it more than me. I'm going to save it for people who need it more than I do. That's not the model that we're going for. If you're here in the community and you can use it, please come out.
The mobile food pantry will allow the food bank to offer more perishable items like fresh produce and milk, something Germain is grateful for.
It's a big help to all of us, and it's something that is very well appreciated.
Staff at the food bank tell us they are looking for volunteers to help pass out food. You can contact them directly to donate your time. Reporting in Lincoln, Kristen Carosa, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And that does it for this morning edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. Thank you for watching this morning edition. Have a great rest of your Friday and a great rest of your day. And see you back here later on today for another newscast. I'll have a news report coming up in a little bit. Goodbye, everyone.